is dead. They say our way is no more, and that the Nile Valley legacy ended thousands of years ago. But we are here, and we do remember. I am child. I am the temple. I am the sanctuary. I am the church. I am the mosque. I am the cathedral. I am holy land. I am the altar. It is lodged in our DNA, tapped down deep in our melanin alchemol. So we traveled deep within, and we fasted and we prayed. And then one day, one by one, Jah Rastafari, Shalom, Hamdulillah, Hare Krishna, Hare Bo. Then two by two, Namyo Krenge Yo, Hallelujah, Aho, Ashe. Then thousands began to wake up to the ancient healing Nile Valley legacy and to pull to the returning lotus woman within
what I choose, or they take my videos down. Welcome. This is the Sacred Sister Circle with Sacred Woman Tahtahme, aka the Sacred Bruja, and I'm just here to help us all have spiritual experiences every Sunday, kind of guided by Sacred Woman by Queen Afua. Let's see, maybe I can bring you a little closer because it's so windy today. Come nice and cozy. So windy today. So anyways, it's the Sacred Sister Circle. I'm Sacred Woman Tahtahme. I'm the Sacred Bruja. We're here today because we are people who practice ancestral veneration to some extent, and we also, we work roots. We do general African-based, diasporic-based, however, more, we're we're more diaspora than anything else, and that's okay. You know, that's we're whatever we identify as. You know, we're not going to put a label on it. It's, you know, it's something sacred. So we come together every Sunday, and we come together every full moon and new moon. We're about to start coming together on Wednesdays, but that's for everybody to just move your womb. I heard Toys R Us is closing, so I went on down there and got myself a hula hoop for Womb Movement Wednesdays, and that one's something, you know, I have a pretty big yard out here, so, you know, everyone can come out here and do that one with me. I don't mind. We can hula hoop. I just started, so you're gonna see all that. But here we have, let's see. We have our theme today is repair and rebuild. So we're going to be talking about that spiritually, but also we're going to be talking about it physically and eating. You know, of course, it's the gateway is sacred food, so we're going to be talking about eating. And so we've got a lot to cover today. We've got a lot. So I'm going to start out page 160 of your Sacred Woman book, if you have it, for our libations. For our libations, we're going to invoke our spiritual guardian Ta'ert, keeping in mind that, you know, that's not to say that we are praising Ta'ert or that we are, you know, like serving Ta'ert. It's somebody that we invoke. It's somebody that we are trying to channel on our journey to overcome food addictions, however big or small they may be, habits that we have that have been years in the making, may be very hard to break. And so we're going to take the time with our libations to call the spiritual guardian, to call the ancestors who we feel can help us. And perhaps if you have an ancestor or, you know, the spirit of somebody in your family who you would love to invoke to help you during this time, I would definitely take this time to do it. Hopefully you have your cup of water. We do this every week. Here's our prayer for the spiritual guardian Ta'ert. Sacred and divine Ta'ert, spiritual guardian of the gateway of sacred food, please accept my deepest gratitude for your healing presence on my altar and in my life. Thank you for your guidance and inspiration and for your love and blessings. And please accept my love and blessings in return. Tahtahme. All praises and adoration to the spiritual guardian Ta'ert, protector of the food of the sacred earth. All praise and adoration to the ancestor of sacred food, Ost. All praise and adoration to the elder of sacred food, Amon de Ra'ah. All praise and adoration to my divine self and my contemporary divine sisters, Cher Cardin and Diane Chacon, who honor sacred food. We now take this time to call by name or in spirit the ancestors who have guided us to this time with their food habits. We ask for their strength as we overcome some habits that are generational in the making, some that we have recently taken on, some that we wish to totally evolve into something spiritual and helpful into our lives. Divine Creator, help me to break my food addictions that cause me disease. Help me to avoid eating foods that cause cancer, high blood pressure, tumors, anxiety, and premature aging. Help me discern angelic foods over foods that create demonic action. Give me the power to eat foods that build my body into a temple of wellness, radiance, and health. May I be blessed to be the mind to feed my body temple meatless, vegetarian, and fruitarian foods that are made to perfect and sustain my sacred body temple. May my debilitated taste buds be transformed and revitalized so I may take pleasure and delight in eating foods that your divine spirit has prepared for my healing. May I find solace in consuming sacred, organic fruits, vegetables, nuts, whole grains, sprouts, and pure water. May all these gifts of true nourishment make me into a holy light being, a sacred woman. Alrighty. Sorry about that. We're going to do our fire breaths. We're going to breathe in all the way, exhale all the way, and then rapid in breathing takes your stomach out. Breathing your stomach, all the air out, takes your stomach in. Simple, right? It should be simple. So we just get a rhythm. Once you get it going, it's simple enough. So we're going to turn up the music.
Stumbling through the sky. When the lights go up.
There we go. Okay, breathe in. And out. Hold your stomach so you can feel it going in and out, in and out. And we're going to go 100 times this time. 100. So count together. Yourself pass out. Follow your own body's rhythm. was too much for you, even just breathe quietly at a normal rate, and every time build up a little bit, and it will get easier for you. So welcome also to the people who are new. This is their first time tuning in live. Welcome. Or if it's your first time tuning in at all, welcome. I'm always happy to see new people joining us. Welcome also if you are here since the beginning, if you're here since last week, welcome. I'm always happy to see you. I'm always happy to see your questions, your comments, your thoughts. Please let me know if stuff works for you, if stuff doesn't work for you, if you have suggestions for me. Let me know. I always want to make the experience better for all of us. And who knows, maybe your suggestion is something other people were thinking too. All right, so repair and rebuild. Today I wanted to jump right into Sun Tzu's The Art of War. And if you've been following us, then you know that I consider this one of our sacred texts, just because it gives really good clarity and insight to how we should just be acting in our normal lives. I mean, just even without prejudice, even without putting too much emotion into how you're living your life, even without putting all that life into it, that ashe into it. This is just the basics, and I think it can be applied on so many levels. So today we have, this is chapter 3, lesson 17, and it says, "Thus we may know that there are 5 essentials for victory. 1. He will win who knows when to fight and when not to fight. 2. He will win who knows how to handle both superior and inferior forces. 3. He will win whose army is animated by the same spirit throughout all its ranks. 4. He will win who, prepared himself, waits to take the enemy unprepared. 5. He will win who has military capacity and is not interfered with by the sovereign. Victory lies in the knowledge of these 5 points." Alright, so I'm going to just go through them one by one. Oh, I can barely see. Okay, there we go. I'm going to just go through it point by point, and we're going to analyze it from the perspective of our gateway, from the perspective spiritually, as well as, as sacred women through growth. Oh, we're about to lose a plant. Okay. 1. He will win who knows when to fight and when not to fight. This refers not only to our outward struggles, right? When you think about like actually fighting people, the struggles in our daily lives, but also our internal fights. Do you waste a lot of time on internal struggles that you don't really need to waste time on? Do you waste time appeasing people, or doing things that are wasting your time, literally? These things also can be wasting time online. We talk about that with people. We joke sometimes, we say, "Today I got time," cause, right, like that gift. But the thing is that that's okay sometimes, but we need to often realize that when we are worried that we're not getting places and getting what we want or the results that we're looking for, sometimes we just have to wake up and realize that we're the ones wasting a lot of our own time, choosing to do things that we're not supposed to be doing or that don't benefit our cause. We do waste a lot of time. We waste a lot of time, watching TV perhaps, catering to people who never cater back to us. there are a lot of ways that we personally waste time, or worse, that could be helping us, or that could be something that's vitally helpful, but we don't see it in that way. We see it as a waste of time, or we treat it as a waste of time. So there are a lot of ways that we could be, working on the battle, fighting it, and not only how it, when to fight it, but how to fight it, how it's fought. 2, he will win who knows how to handle both superior and inferior forces. I think this is a good lesson for sacred words, especially, but it could also be how we're handling our sacred foods this month. How do you handle the inferior foods versus the superior ones? How are you succumbing to the addiction of salts and carbs? I guess carbs is whatever. We're just trying to ditch meat right this month. We're just trying to ditch all that. So, occasional slip-ups is not the biggest thing, but it is kind of the biggest thing when we're, especially if we're really focused on healing something, or, gaining certain aspects in our life, right? I talk all the time about, if you have, a cyst, you need to eat better. But it's also, if you're looking for some sort of, spiritual miracle or event to happen, it could be best if you change up your eating as well. We're going to be fasting, not this week, but is it this week? I think it is this week. No, I'll let you know soon. I can't remember. I think it's the last week of the sacred foods I wanted us to fast, because I really want us to focus on, eating, transitioning at a good rate, that's successful. 3, he will win whose army is animated by the same spirit throughout all its ranks. So in this way, I read it as, let's have passion throughout all the different aspects, right? So there are all the different gateways that have all the different paths that you need to be taking simultaneously to become a sacred woman, right? You can't just be really good at sacred words and neglect everything else and still be a sacred woman necessarily, right? You have to focus on all the gateways, excel at them, understand them, embody them, and then throughout the embodiment of all parts, it gets you to the end, right? So when you think about throughout all of your ranks, it's a way of thinking of like going after everything holistically, right? So number 4 says, he will win who prepared himself, waits to take the enemy unprepared. So the lesson of being prepared is that when you're prepared and the other person isn't prepared, it's you who gets the blessing, right? And when it's you who's not prepared and other people who are prepared, it's them who usually gets the blessing. That's a general rule. So the general rule for yourself is your goal is to always be prepared, right? It's to always be ready, it's to always be prepared, and not be the one caught off guard. It's kind of your hope. The lesson, number 5, he will win who has military capacity and is not interfered with by the sovereign. So if we use the word military capacity to be symbolic of your own personal power, the tools, your spiritual tools, physical tools, mental, what have you, familial, whatever power you have behind you, your weapons, and you'll win if you have those and those are not interfered with by outside oppressive sources. So there are outside oppressive sources that will to some extent limit you. However, there is to some extent, as I was talking about earlier, that power that you have within yourself, that power to do certain things, build up your own personal abilities, whatever they may be. I think we can all say, I wish I could have been a great this, a great that, but I don't live in this country, or I don't do that, I don't do this. Well, we all have capacity to become something great where we are with what we have, and reach to the best of our ability with that locally, or reach to the best we can. And I think a lot of people forget that, and that's where people's lives end up being stuck in cycles of not being able to go that extra mile, reach that goal that they've been thinking about. It's because we get stuck in the cycle of not quite utilizing what we have at that time. So we have a few things that are not governed by those rules of oppression that we need to always remember. So that was our chapter here, and I wanted to follow that with something else from the language. Oh, can you see it? There you go. By Early August. Alright, she says on page 57, balance. In each present moment, we must work towards balance. There's the physical you, the emotional you, the spiritual you, and the mental you. We should learn to balance every aspect of our being. Just as important as it is to create strategies for success, it is equally important to create strategies for being healthy and happy, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. No one else can do it for you, which creates an even higher level of urgency not to give your power or control to other people. When you give other people the steering wheel, they will only drive you further away from where you're supposed to be. You'll end up more lost than you were in the beginning. How will you even know if you're heading in the right or wrong direction if you never got acquainted with your own roadmap, yourself? So I felt she just said it all there. We're going to also read from her page right before at 56, where we do kind of a meditation with it. We're going to repeat it. She says, become the solution to your problems. Whatever the cause is, be the cure. Oh. Become the solution to your problems. Whatever the cause is, be the cure. Play the music, and then whenever I ring the bell, we'll say the words, become the solution to your problems, whatever the cause is, be the cure. Become the solution to your problems, whatever the cause is, be the cure. Or my problems, you can say become the solution to my problems, whatever the cause is, be the cure. problems, whatever the causes, be the cure. About our words, we're talking about our choices, we're talking about talking to our womb, talking to our body, ourself. What do we want? What is our actual goal? Are we working towards it? Are we making ourselves the cure? Our choices curing us. Become the solution to my problems, whatever the causes, be the cure. Be the cure, right? Become the solution to my problems, whatever the cause is. Be the cure. Now, I like how she says, whatever the cause is. Sometimes it's not our fault. Usually it's not our fault. That's how life works, right? So we're choosing in this moment to take control. Let's see. I think right now it is time for our break and smoking break and water break. So if you have some water, you should drink it. If you don't have water, you should run inside and get water, or run to the kitchen and get some water. If you smoke, hopefully no tobacco. This isn't tobacco-free zone. But if you have, some herbs or some tree, you should smoke with us. Smoke with us right now. I'll turn on some other music. Let's see. us on Wednesdays. Make sure you join us if you're just trying to move and get a little more fit and active in your life, or manifest with the energy of a bunch of people. We're gonna be just play music, move, enjoy. I think it's gonna be a wonderful experience, a beautiful experience. Just getting to know each other, and I'm going to be playing just most types of music, any type, really. It's going to be very eclectic, but I am going to share the playlist for anybody who wants it. So we're going to see what we can do there. As a mud woman, a woman of the earth and of the divine spirit, a devotee to the clay movement, I give thanks and honor to the mother side of the Creator, the great Mother Ta'ert of the soil, who nourishes, nurtures, and heals us through the power of the land. As a mud woman, a devotee of the clay clan, I vow to use my clay daily and holistically to beautify my body temple and use the earth as a drugless therapy to draw out all that ails me. Alright, so that is kind of a way of introduction to us going to be buying clays, basically. I want to encourage, if you do not already have a clay to use for this detoxing journey, I'm going to be buying one. I'll post up which one I buy Queen Afua sells one, and it's very wonderful, but it is also very small and kind of expensive. So, fair warning on that. And there's other clays as well. Clays are really good for drawing the toxins out. They can be used topically. You can use them internally, but the ones we're going to be using is topically. And we are going to use them in a couple weeks from now to use for a clay pack, as well as other uses as well. You can use them on your teeth for certain ailments, in your gums, in other places of your mouth, just because it's really healing and it can pull it all out for you. And it's not just physical, it's spiritual as well for your womb pack especially. Let's see, I wanted to go over specific vegetables to use for specific ailments. So if you have your womb journal, which you should always have your womb journal, right, when we're doing these, just so you can jot down some notes. So here's some notes for you for your womb healing kitchen continued. If you haven't already seen it, we have a whole blessing section put up, food blessings, making the table, arranging food, and other, what else was on there? I'm not even sure. I can't even remember. I'll have to go reread the article myself, but it was posted yesterday morning. So here we have it. Spinach for iron and rejuvenation. It's a wonderful source of fiber, vitamins A and C. It has more protein than other leafy vegetables. Good for cleansing and regenerating your intestinal tract. So if you're having intestinal problems, digestive problems, if you have issues with, just sitting on the toilet all the time for whatever reason, this is something you should try, spinach. And it's something you can just add to foods as you're eating them, add to your pasta, add to, your hamburger patties, add them to a bunch of things. Steam them lightly, right, if you're going to cook them at all. Parsley is good for increased circulation, but be warned, if you're eating parsley, you need to be careful if you're pregnant before you eat a lot of these, pretty much anything we do. If you're pregnant, you should look it up first. And even if you hear from one person say it's okay, get it from like 2 or 3 people. So parsley is what's considered an emmenagogue, and it will start your period, which is something, if you want that, that's wonderful. If you don't want that, that could be devastating for you to add a bunch of parsley to your diet for better circulation and end up with something that you didn't really want, not realizing that you, through not knowing what you were doing, totally brought something onto that you didn't really want, but you brought it on. So that's why research is so important, so important. So anyways, but the parsley juice is also rich in chlorophyll. It's good, which is good for the oxygen in your system, helps calm the stomach and digestive movements. But anyways, I think also it's kind of implied when I say parsley is good for circulation. That's the blood, and so of course it would increase blood flow everywhere, especially in the womb, which is why it will jumpstart your period. Has potassium, sulfur, good for your eyesight and your thyroid. Then you have kale for rebuilding the bloodstream. Helps with constipation, arthritis, bladder pain, rejuvenates your tissues, excellent source of calcium. Turnips for building the bones, contains iron and calcium, has the same properties as kale, parsley, and spinach. Cabbage, which is a good favorite for a lot of people. If you use a light bit of oil, some garlic, you can create a bunch of really good filling for, you can put it on top of rice, you can fill up a taco, you can do a bunch of things with cabbage, right? And it's something that a lot of people have a good recipe for it in the family. Helps with digestion, has very good nutrients, and the red one is even more nutrient dense than the lighter colored green one. Broccoli has anti-cancer benefits, blood pressure. String beans are good for diabetes. So this is a worksheet that Queen Afua gave to sacred women practitioners for recommended. So of course it's not, as strict as some diets. It's also not as lenient as others. With all of these foods, she recommends very light cooking, because the more you cook it, the less nutrients are going to be in there. So we have ginger root, good for your circulation. It's also good for the sinuses, mucus in the lungs. Celery is my least favorite. It's good for, it has a coolant in it that's similar to cucumbers, which is my fave. It's also good for the hair and skin. It drains excess water from the kidneys. The good thing about cucumbers, I think cucumbers are the excellent food for when you have the hunger headache. When you're not that great, you're starting out as a vegan, or maybe you're in it, but hunger headaches happen to the best of them. You forget to eat, and then you get to the point where it's just too late and you're done for. So before you panic, before you go out and just get a hamburger, cut up a cucumber, get a good dip that you already have in the fridge ready for this moment, and dip and eat the whole thing. And by the end of that, you'll be ready. You'll be ready for anything. You'll be like, oh, I can cook something like, even if it's just like a 20-minute thing, you won't feel like you have to just like let it all hang out. You know what I mean? So cucumber is good for repairing the kidneys. Contains a great amount of water, helps with body temperature, helps with the complexion, fingernail and hair growth. Cranberries for blood cleansing, vitality, impurities, for the prostate and testicles and bladder. It also helps with the urinary canal, which is why they say when you have a UTI, you should do cranberries. Strawberries and all the berries too are really good for the womb. Strawberries are good for cleansing with their natural sugars. They have iron. Apples and pears are good for indigestion and constipation. I have already put up a recipe for applesauce. Pear sauce works just the same. I also am putting up, what is it? I have we're going to be cooking for the ancestors, and I have the apple pie, and I'm tweaking it. I'm getting it ready. I did it last night, and it was like, it looked good, and then I need to cut it smaller. I have things. I'm tweaking it, but it's going to be ready by the 18th, so get ready for that. We're going to be doing more, because apples are so good for you, and you don't really need to sweeten them that much. Alright, we have citrus foods. We have two more. Citrus fruits are good for the mucus and the immune system, and papaya is another good one for constipation and bloating. If you like the taste, papaya is another good one for you. So yes, we're going to be cooking for the ancestors on the 18th. So you need to get either you need to make your own dough. That's the word. You need to make your own dough. However you make it, have your recipe down pat, know how it's going down, and be ready with that on the 18th. Or you can just go get a simple pre-made doughs from the store and get ready with that. And more information than that, you also need like cinnamon, butter if you're still using butter. If not, olive oil would be just fine. And a bunch of apples. You can use whatever colors you want. For the effect, it's supposed to look like roses, so we're supposed to use red, but I like the taste of green more, so mix it up, do you. They're still gonna look like little flowers. It still looks really pretty, so no matter what. we'll figure it out. And you need an oven, of course. If you don't want to make it a whole pie, you can just make little individual ones, and that is still fine. So let's see. I believe we are finished for today. I can't believe it. Today we just powered through everything so fast. Usually I'm like, oh, everything needs to be cut more things out. Okay, so if you have any questions for me about sacred foods, we're going to be doing a fast, a longer fast than last time. Last time we did like a 1-day fast or something with fruit only and water. This upcoming one, I think we're gonna do a longer fast of some sort, though. I'm still not totally clear on what we're doing. So anyways, thank you for coming to the Sacred Sister Circle. Please look back on patreon.com/Sacred Sister Circle to see more information as the month goes on, and let me know any comments, questions, concerns. Also, meet up with us on the 16th for the new moon womb yoga poses session for the new moon in Aries. I'd love to see you there, and we will enjoy this one together.